This is about coaching the consultant and helping you perform at your best. I'm Brian Birch and I run coachingtheconsultant.com. I'd like to help you, if you're one of these types of coaches, help you understand your business better and help you increase your skills and do your best. This video is about picking your niche, and generally I will be looking at the needs of consultants, getting paid, time management, delivering work, building a client relationship, those sorts of things. When you're finding your niche, common questions in books are like these. In what industry do you want to work? It talks about your experience, your passion, and any particular issues you want to work with. But how do you know you've got the right niche? How do you know it will work for you financially, emotionally, practically, and how do you know that there isn't too much competition? You can ask yourself all these questions individually, but it can be quite difficult to check that it makes sense for you. What I'm proposing is to explore this in a way that you may not be familiar with. It's using clean language coaching questions. These questions, they're simple, they're open questions, they help explore. They are solution focused, it's all about what you'd like to have happen. Clean language coaching focuses on the client's words, and we add in as few assumptions or structures as possible. And clean language, because they're so open and simple, they can deal with all sorts of situations. If the things are changing for you, that's fine. Often we'll deal with metaphors, with patterns of behavior, patterns of thought, and we can deal with multiple behaviors. So you're doing something but you think about yourself while you're doing that, or other ways in which we look at things from different perspectives or different levels. This video slide is coming after conversations with a Spanish teacher and a business coach, and here we're talking to them. As a coach, I asked things like, what would you like to have happen? Is there anything else about that, about your niche, about the customers you want to work with? Is there anything else about you when you're working with those customers? What's the relationship between X and Y? What's the relationship between you and your niche? And other questions that are clean language questions. After you've found your niche, what happens next? Those sorts of things. The client talked about the people she wanted to work with. She wondered, should she be cold calling? Should she be adjusting her fees? She talked about one particular niche as writing training courses, and did come eventually to the conclusion that what she would least want to do could make the biggest difference. So we asked very open questions, and it helped her look at new avenues, think about new things. And I think it's a bit like shopping, that you keep exploring some areas until you find something that works for you. Clean language helps check what you're saying, but do deeper and deeper checks, ecology checks if you will. And eventually, if you do find that there's something you want to do, but it's also very hard to do it, well, you can make that choice. You can do the thing that you don't really favor, or and accept the consequences, or you can choose not to do that. So the Spanish teacher had her own set of ideas and issues. I asked similar questions. What would you like to have happen? Is there anything else about whatever phrase she used, which included people who want to learn Spanish desperately? So that client talked about just that phrase, talked about private lessons, talked about possibly targeting people who were from poor families where another family member pays. It seems an unusual niche to me, but it's not about what I think, it's about what that coach, what that client sees as her niche, and encouraging her to do all the checks that she needs to do that. And it's trusting the client, because that way we can go in new ways with the client. So there are options that can be visible to her but not to me, and it's about utilizing and trusting the client's ability to spot opportunities and check that they are feasible. So, clean language. Well, there are very few assumptions. I don't assume that just because I wouldn't do it that way means that that particular person can't do it that way. all about the client's information. It's not about my advice from my perspective. Clean language does encourage you to talk about goals, and it looks at the requirements, or if you like, the necessary conditions to make something happen. And metaphors are encouraged, and sometimes they hit the nail just on the head. So why would you use clean language? Well, because of the structure of the way clean language questions are used, we follow the important areas. If you have a goal of the conversation, then we follow that, and we can often explore areas that seem to be likely to give out something interesting and useful to the client. So we can address issues that are relevant but they're not planned, and that way I feel it's superior to a very simple set of questions on how to find your niche. Clean language sessions feel very real, very relevant, and very personal, very, very quickly. It's not about giving cheap advice or my stories of what I have done in the past. It's about the client and their information. And the client builds awareness of what's going on for them, and builds the ability to check what they're talking about and making sure it will work for them. I'm Brian Birch. Please email me if you'd like to hear more about how clean language coaching can help you as a consultant.